Something in your spirit has been stirring. Something in your heart has been whispering. You cannot explain it fully, but deep within, you know that change is coming. You sense that the ground beneath you is shifting. The air around you feels different, and your soul feels as if it is being prepared for something greater than you can see right now. That is not your imagination. That is not a random thought. That is God telling you in advance, something big is coming. God does not leave His people blind. He does not allow you to walk into destiny without first planting a seed of anticipation within you. That stirring you feel is heaven's announcement. That restlessness in your heart is divine preparation. God is sending you a signal that He is about to move in your life in a way that will surprise not only you, but everyone around you. When God is about to do something extraordinary, He often reveals it to you in small, quiet ways first. It may be a dream that lingers, a thought that will not leave, an unusual hunger for change, or an unshakable sense that your current season is ending. You may not have all the details, but you know something is shifting. That is God warning you, preparing you, equipping you for what is ahead. He does not surprise His people without first placing hints in their spirit. And if you are discerning enough to notice those hints, then you must get ready, because what is coming is greater than anything you have faced before. Do not dismiss the restlessness in your heart. Do not ignore the inner voice telling you to rise higher. Do not silence the longing for something greater. These are not distractions. They are signals. They are like divine alarms, sounding within your spirit, urging you to wake up and pay attention. God is saying to you, I am about to do something new. Do not cling to the old. Do not be comfortable in the familiar. Something big is on the horizon. And when God declares something big is coming, no force on earth can stop it. But here is the challenge: when God warns you in advance, it is often in a season when nothing looks like change. You may still be in the same job, living in the same home, surrounded by the same struggles, carrying the same burdens. On the outside, everything looks ordinary. But inside, you know God is calling you to prepare for the extraordinary. This is where faith is tested. Will you trust what you sense in your spirit more than what you see with your eyes? Will you believe that God is setting the stage, even when the stage looks empty? Faith is not about waiting for visible evidence. It is about acting on God's invisible voice. When God tells you something big is coming, He is not just giving you information. He is calling you into preparation. Preparation is the proof of expectation. If you truly believe something big is coming, you will start adjusting your life to align with it. You will let go of the things that weigh you down. You will detach from people who drain your spirit. You will silence the voices of doubt and fear. You will cleanse your heart of bitterness and unforgiveness. Why? Because you cannot carry yesterday's baggage into tomorrow's blessing. God warns you in advance, so you have time to prepare, to purify, to position yourself for the next season. Think of it like a seed planted in the soil. When you place a seed in the ground, nothing looks different on the surface. The soil looks the same. The ground looks unchanged, but hidden beneath the surface, life is forming. Growth is happening. Roots are spreading. And suddenly, one day, the breakthrough comes and everyone sees what was happening all along. This is how God works in your life. He tells you something big is coming while everything still looks ordinary, because He wants you to trust the unseen process. If you only believe, when you see, you will miss the beauty of the unseen work God is already doing. Many people miss the move of God because they dismiss the preparation. They want the blessing, but resist the process. They want the breakthrough, but ignore the warning signs. They want the promise, but avoid the pruning. But hear me clearly. When God tells you something big is coming, He is not just promising you a gift. He is shaping you into someone who can carry that gift. Without preparation, blessings can become burdens. Without growth, opportunities can destroy you. God loves you too much to give you something your character cannot sustain. That is why He warns you early, so you can rise to the level of the destiny He has prepared for you. You must also understand that when God announces something big is coming, opposition will often rise. The enemy fears what you are about to step into. He fears the influence, the impact, the testimony that will flow out of your breakthrough. So do not be surprised if distractions increase. Do not be shocked if obstacles appear. Do not be discouraged if people suddenly turn against you. The storm is often loudest right before the calm. The darkness is often thickest right before the dawn. The struggle intensifies because the enemy knows what God has already spoken. Something big is coming. Do not interpret opposition as a sign to quit. Interpret it as confirmation that you are close. When God speaks in advance, it is also an invitation for deeper trust. He is saying, do not wait until you see it to believe it. Believe it now. True faith does not celebrate only after the victory. It celebrates before the victory arrives. It dances in the silence. It rejoices in the waiting. It praises in the unknown. When you live like this, you are declaring, God, I do not just trust you when I hold the promise. I trust you when I only hear the whisper. That kind of faith pleases God, and it accelerates His work in your life. Do not measure the magnitude of what is coming by the size of your present resources. God never calls you to something that matches your strength. He calls you to something that requires His strength. If what is coming feels bigger than you, that is because it is. It is meant to stretch you, to elevate you, to draw you deeper into reliance on God. Do not shrink back because it looks impossible. Instead, rise with boldness, because the impossible is where God shows His power most clearly. If you could do it on your own, you would not need Him. But because it is greater than you, you will see His hand carry you in ways you never imagined. Perhaps right now you feel unqualified. You feel too broken, too small, too overlooked. But when God says something big is coming, He is not asking for your qualifications. He is not looking at your resume. He is looking at your heart. If your heart is willing, if your spirit is surrendered, if your faith is alive, then you are ready for what He is about to release. God has always chosen the unlikely to do the extraordinary. He takes the overlooked and makes them vessels of greatness. He takes the rejected and places them in positions of influence. So do not disqualify yourself when God has already qualified you. Listen carefully. God is not just preparing a blessing for you. He is preparing you for the blessing. Something big is not just about what you will receive. It is about who you will become. God is shaping your character, refining your heart, sharpening your vision. Every delay, every disappointment, every closed door has been part of the preparation. You thought it was punishment, but it was positioning. You thought it was rejection, but it was redirection. God has been arranging every detail, even the painful ones, to make you ready for the moment when everything shifts. And when that shift comes, it will come suddenly. It may feel like nothing is changing for years. And then in a single moment, everything will turn. That is how God works. He spends time building in silence, then reveals in power. Do not despise the waiting. It is sacred. Do not curse the silence. It is preparation. Do not grow weary in the delay. It is the evidence that something big is indeed on its way. God is telling you in advance, because He does not want you to be unprepared. He wants you to live alert, watchful, expectant. He wants your faith sharpened, your heart cleansed, your spirit ready. When the moment comes, it will not be a time for hesitation. It will be a time for action. Those who are prepared will step into the fullness of what God has promised. Those who ignore the warnings will watch opportunities pass them by. Which will you be? Do not let fear rob you of what is coming. Fear will try to convince you that you are not ready, not capable, not worthy. But trust in God silences fear. Trust says, if God has spoken it, then God will also sustain me through it. Do not let doubt steal your anticipation. Doubt will try to tell you that you heard wrong, that nothing will change, that life will always be the same. But faith rises up and says, I know my God, and if He has whispered it to my spirit, I will hold on to it until it becomes reality. Something big is on the horizon. You cannot see all the details yet, but God is already arranging them. You cannot understand the full picture yet, but God has already painted it. Your role is simple. Trust Him. Prepare yourself and stay faithful. Because when the moment arrives, it will be too late to start preparing. The time to get ready is now. God is telling you in advance so that when the breakthrough comes, you will not be shocked. You will be ready to walk into it with confidence, knowing this is what He has been preparing you for all along. When God begins to stir your spirit with whispers of something coming, it is not a small matter. It is not a coincidence, nor is it just your imagination. It is divine preparation. God never speaks without purpose. If He places an uneasiness, an anticipation, or a stirring within you, it is because He wants you to lift your eyes higher and prepare your heart deeper. He knows what is ahead, and He loves you too much to leave you unprepared. That stirring is His signal, His warning, His encouragement. Something is about to shift. Many times, before the dawn breaks, the night grows darker. Before the harvest, the soil must be broken. Before the blessing, the heart must be tested. When you feel God is telling you in advance that something big is coming, you must understand that He is both warning you and encouraging you. He warns you so you are not caught unaware. And He encourages you so you can endure the process until the promise arrives. God is not trying to scare you. He is trying to strengthen you. When you sense the heaviness of waiting, when you feel the weight of transition, do not misinterpret it as failure. It is not that God has forgotten you. It is that He is preparing you for what eyes have not seen and ears have not heard. Think of the seed buried underground. For a time, it looks lifeless, unseen, hidden in the soil. But under the surface, there is life, growth, and preparation for a mighty sprout. God does the same with you. When He tells you in advance, prepare, for something big is coming. He is planting the seed of faith within your spirit so you can withstand the darkness of waiting until the light of fulfillment breaks forth. God tells you in advance because He wants you to stand in faith and not crumble in fear. Imagine walking into a storm unaware. It strikes you suddenly and you stumble. But imagine God whispering beforehand, "A storm is coming, but I am with you." That whisper changes everything. Instead of fear, you brace yourself. Instead of panic, you anchor yourself. Instead of despair, you hold on to the assurance that the storm is not the end. It is only a passage to the greater thing God has promised. Do not underestimate the importance of advance warning. God is giving you the advantage of preparation. He is saying, do not live carelessly. Do not drift with the crowd. Do not waste this moment. I am about to do something, but I need your heart awake and your spirit ready. Many lose the blessing not because God did not prepare it, but because they were not ready when it arrived. God is calling you now to sharpen your faith, deepen your prayer, and strengthen your trust, for the coming season requires a stronger version of you. Hear me clearly. When God tells you something big is coming, it is always bigger than your own imagination. It is not merely about material things, though He can bless you with abundance. It is not just about external changes, though He can open doors no one can shut. It is about transformation, elevation, and alignment with His divine will. God's plans for you are never small, and when He gives you a glimpse in advance, it is a sign that you are being invited into something beyond your human comprehension. This is why you must guard your heart in this season. Do not allow doubt to creep in. Do not let fear silence the voice of faith. When others around you cannot see what you see, do not be discouraged. God did not speak to them. He spoke to you. He did not place the anticipation in their spirit. He placed it in yours. You must carry it with reverence like a sacred flame. Protect it from the winds of negativity and the rains of doubt. Keep it alive with prayer, with worship, with unshakable trust in God's timing. And remember, God never rushes. If He tells you in advance, it is because His plan requires development. Do not mistake the delay for denial. The bigger the blessing, the deeper the preparation. The higher the calling, the stronger the foundation must be. You cannot build a skyscraper on shallow soil. Likewise, God will not build your destiny on a fragile foundation. He must deepen your roots, strengthen your character, and refine your faith before releasing the big thing He has spoken about. Do not resist this preparation. Welcome it. Embrace it. Every struggle, every tear, every test you face in this season is shaping you for what God has ahead. If He tells you something big is coming, it is because He believes you are worthy to receive it. But you must first prove that you can carry it. The weight of greatness requires strong shoulders of faith. The responsibility of blessing requires a disciplined heart. The honor of destiny requires an unshakable trust in God. Therefore, lift up your head. Do not live like someone with no direction. God has already told you something big is on the horizon. That means your story is not finished. That means your pain is not wasted. That means your faith is not in vain. Hold on with both hands, for the same God who spoke it in advance is the same God who will bring it to pass. When God declares in your spirit that something big is coming, it is not meant to be a casual thought you brush aside. It is a divine signal that demands your attention, your preparation, and your obedience. God does not waste words. Every whisper, every stirring, every divine nudge is intentional, carefully placed in your heart to align you with His greater plan. This is not about coincidence, this is about destiny. When God speaks in advance, it is because He is inviting you to step into partnership with Him, to walk with expectation and to train your eyes to see beyond the limitations of the present. Understand this: God sees the end from the beginning. He knows the outcome long before you take the first step. When He tells you that something big is coming, it means He has already completed in His plan. It is already settled in His divine timeline. The only question is whether you will align yourself in faith so that you can step into it. Faith is the bridge between His promise and your reality. Without faith, you will hear the promise but miss the fulfillment. But with faith, even when circumstances shout the opposite, you will hold firm because you trust that God cannot lie and cannot fail. One of the greatest mistakes people make is to hear the whisper of God, to feel that stirring in their soul, but then allow fear, doubt, or distraction to rob them of it. Do not make that mistake. If God has told you something big is coming, cling to it like your very life depends on it. Guard it as a sacred treasure. Speak it back to Him in prayer. Remind yourself daily that the God who spoke the heavens into existence is the same God who is preparing this promise for you. The waiting is not punishment, it is positioning. The delay is not denial, it is divine timing. The stretching you feel is not abandonment, it is preparation. Do not be surprised if your environment begins to feel uncomfortable when God is preparing you for something greater. Often, He shakes what is familiar so that you will not cling to it. He unsettles the ground beneath your feet so you will not plant yourself too deeply in the wrong place. He closes doors you thought would always remain open so that you will be forced to trust Him and not your own plans. This discomfort is not cruelty, it is mercy. God knows that if He does not unsettle you, you will miss the greater thing He has prepared. Think of the eagle with its young. When the time comes for the eaglet to fly, the mother begins to make the nest uncomfortable, removing the soft layers and exposing the thorns beneath. Why? Because if the eaglet remains comfortable, it will never stretch its wings. In the same way, when God tells you something big is coming, He may begin to strip away your comfort zones. Relationships may shift, opportunities may change, places where you once felt at ease may now feel unsettling. Do not resist it. This is God stirring your nest, preparing you to soar higher. When God speaks in advance, it is also a test of stewardship. What will you do with the word you have received? Will you bury it under fear, or will you water it with faith? Will you let others talk you out of it, or will you stand firm even when no one else believes? God is watching how you respond, because how you treat the promise determines whether you are ready to carry the fulfillment. The promise is not just a gift, it is also a responsibility. To be trusted with more, you must prove faithful with what you have now. Let me tell you this truth: the bigger the thing God is preparing, the greater the opposition you may face. The enemy of your soul does not want you to step into your destiny. He will attack your mind, trying to convince you that you imagined it. He will use people to discourage you, situations to wear you down, and delays to tempt you into giving up. But do not be deceived. Opposition is not a sign that you misheard God. It is often the clearest sign that you heard Him correctly. The enemy only fights what he fears. If the battle has intensified, it is because the blessing is near. This is why you must remain anchored in God and unmoved by circumstance. When the storms rage, let your heart be still, knowing that the one who controls the winds has already spoken a word over your life. When doubts creep in, silence them with the truth that God is faithful. When weariness tries to break you, remind yourself that those who wait upon God will renew their strength, mount up with wings like eagles, run and not be weary, walk and not faint. God is your strength, your shield, and your guarantee. And remember this: God is not a God of confusion. If He has told you something big is coming, He will confirm it. You will see signs. You will feel the alignment of events. You will witness doors opening at just the right time. Do not demand that He reveal every detail, for faith is not about seeing everything clearly. Faith is about trusting even when you cannot trace His hand. But He will give you enough assurance to keep you moving, enough light for the next step, and enough peace to quiet your anxious heart. So rise up in faith. Do not treat this word lightly. If God has told you in advance, it means He has chosen you to carry this promise. Live as if it is already on its way. Pray with confidence. Speak with expectation. Walk with assurance. Let your life reflect the certainty that the God who spoke this word is faithful to bring it to pass. The world may look at you and see nothing, but you know what God has whispered in your soul. Hold on to it, for in His perfect timing, it will come to pass, and all will know that the hand of God has been upon you. When God tells you in advance that something big is coming, it is not a message to be ignored. It is a divine summons to rise, to believe, to prepare your heart for the extraordinary. You are not standing in an ordinary moment. You are standing on the threshold of a season that can redefine your entire life. God is not playing with your emotions. He is building your faith. He is not teasing you with vague promises. He is calling you to trust Him more deeply than you ever have before. This is not about chance. It is about destiny. So I ask you, will you stand idle, doubting the whispers of God? Or will you rise in bold faith and act as if His word is already reality? Will you let fear silence your conviction, or will you speak with courage that the God who holds the universe has already prepared your future? Will you shrink back into the shadows of uncertainty, or will you walk forward with your head lifted, knowing that the one who spoke to you is the same one who will bring it to pass? This is your moment to anchor your soul in trust, to stop living small and start living with expectation, to refuse the language of defeat and embrace the posture of victory. God is telling you in advance so that when the day comes, you will not say, "I was surprised," but rather, "I was ready." He is giving you the dignity of preparation, the strength of anticipation, and the courage of faith. Do not live another day as though nothing is happening. Something is happening. Something is shifting. Something is moving in the unseen, and God Himself is aligning the pieces. Stand tall, hold fast, walk faithfully. Let your life declare, even before you see it, that you believe in the power of God's word. And when it comes, and it will come, you will stand as a living testimony that those who trust in God are never disappointed. Now go forth, not in fear, but in faith. Not in hesitation, but in expectation. Not in weakness, but in the strength of the Almighty. For God has already whispered it, something big is coming. Prepare your heart, ready your spirit, and dare to believe, because the future He has spoken over you is greater than anything you can imagine. Do you know what your greatest weapon is in the middle of your pain, in the middle of your tears, in the middle of your confusion? It is not your knowledge, not your strength, not your resources. It is your trust in God. When everything around you is collapsing, when people betray you, when money runs out, when health fails, when doors close, when the future looks dark, there is one unshakable truth that will never abandon you. God is still in control. And when you put your trust in Him, He will fix your situation. Not maybe, not sometimes, not if things align perfectly. No, when you put your whole trust in God, He will act, He will move, He will transform, He will heal, and He will restore what seems broken beyond repair. You see, life has a way of teaching us that we are not as strong as we think we are. One phone call can shake your entire world. One unexpected event can wipe away years of hard work. One betrayal can crush your heart into pieces. One sickness can steal your strength. And in those moments, you discover the limits of human power. But that is not a place of defeat. It is a place of revelation. Because when human power fails, the power of God begins to shine. When your hands cannot hold it together, His hands are more than enough to rebuild what you thought was gone forever. So many people today live with hidden fears, hidden anxieties, hidden frustrations. On the outside, they smile, they talk, they pretend everything is fine. But inside, they are trembling. They don't know how tomorrow will look. They don't know how they will pay their bills. They don't know how to heal from the pain of rejection. They don't know how to overcome the mistakes of yesterday. And yet, the truth is that you were never meant to carry that burden alone. God is not asking you to solve every problem with your limited strength. He is asking you to trust Him. To trust Him enough to hand over the broken pieces of your life and believe that He will make them whole again. Do you know why so many people suffer longer than they should? It's not because God is absent. It's not because God is silent. It's not because God is powerless. It's because they refuse to let go. They keep clutching the pain. They keep clinging to their fears. They keep analyzing their problems as if they can solve them by worrying day and night. But worry is a prison and fear is a thief. The longer you hold on to your problem, the longer you block the hand of God from fixing it. But the moment you say, but I cannot carry this anymore, I place it into your hands, I trust you with it, that is the moment His power begins to move in ways you cannot imagine. Think of the situations in your life that you thought were permanent. The moments you said, this is it. I will never rise again. I will never smile again. I will never recover. And yet somehow you are still here. Somehow you are still breathing. Somehow the pain that should have destroyed you became the very ground where your strength was born. That is the fingerprint of God. That is the proof that your story is not in the hands of men, not in the hands of circumstances, but in the hands of God Almighty. But hear me clearly, trust is not passive. Trust is not sitting down, doing nothing, and waiting for God to deliver everything on a silver plate. Trust is active faith. Trust is surrender with expectation. Trust is saying, God, I don't see the way, but I believe you are making one. I don't feel strong, but I know you are my strength. I don't have the answers, but I know you are wisdom itself. I don't see the resources, but I know you are my provider. That kind of trust turns fear into courage, confusion into clarity, and impossibility into possibility. There are many people today who are imprisoned by the opinions of others. They worry about who left them, who betrayed them, who didn't support them. They waste energy crying over doors that closed, relationships that ended, opportunities that slipped away. But listen carefully, when God allows something to close, it is because He is preparing something better. If you trust God, you will stop crying over what left and start rejoicing over what's coming. Because God never subtracts without adding. He never removes without replacing. He never allows an ending without preparing a new beginning. When you trust God, you stop panicking about the timing. So many people are tormented because they are impatient. They want the answer now. They want the breakthrough now. They want the healing now. But trusting God means trusting His timing. And His timing is always perfect. You may feel delayed, but you are never denied. You may feel like it's taking too long, but God is aligning things behind the scenes. He is moving people, shifting circumstances, preparing doors, and setting the stage so that when He acts, it will be undeniable that only God could have done it. Do not despise the waiting season, because in the waiting season, trust is forged. In the waiting season, you learn patience. In the waiting season, you discover what it means to depend fully on God. And when the breakthrough finally comes, it does not just bless you, it transforms you. It makes you a testimony for others. It makes you a light to those who are still waiting, still struggling, still crying. Maybe you are listening to this right now and your heart is heavy. You are wondering, can God really fix my situation? Can God really heal my broken marriage? Can God really provide when the debt is so high? Can God really open doors when every door has been slammed shut? And the answer is yes. Not only can God fix your situation, but He will. Because God has never been defeated by human impossibility. What is impossible for man is natural for God. What is out of your control is always within His control. What terrifies you is nothing but dust under His authority. Stop magnifying the problem. Stop rehearsing the pain. Stop giving power to what is already under the feet of God. Instead, magnify the one who holds the universe in His hand. Magnify the one who brings the sun up every morning. Magnify the one who gives breath to your lungs. Magnify the one who opens the seas, moves mountains, and raises valleys. Because when you magnify God, your problem begins to shrink. When you magnify God, you stop trembling before men and start walking with courage. When you magnify God, you realize that your situation is not bigger than Him. There are some listening to me right now who are broken by past mistakes. You think God cannot fix your situation because you ruined it with your own hands. You made wrong choices. You trusted the wrong people. You took the wrong path. And now you feel like you are disqualified from His help. But hear this, God's mercy is bigger than your mistakes. God's power is greater than your failures. If you will humble yourself and trust Him, He will not only fix your situation, He will redeem your past and make your pain a platform for His glory. This is the difference between human effort and divine power. Human effort can only go so far. Human effort is bound by limits, by resources, by time. But divine power is limitless. Divine power is not restricted by your failures, by your past, by your enemies, by your lack. Divine power breaks chains, lifts burdens, restores years that were lost, and creates rivers in deserts. When you trust God, you place yourself under that limitless power. And let me tell you something, trust will always be tested. You cannot say you trust God without being put into a situation where your trust is stretched. Sometimes He allows the storm not to destroy you, but to reveal whether you trust Him in the darkness as much as you claim to in the light. Do not be surprised when trials come. They are not signs of abandonment. They are opportunities for trust. They are the places where God proves Himself faithful. They are the classrooms where your faith matures. So today, make a decision. Not tomorrow. Not when everything feels comfortable. Today, decide to trust God with every part of your life. Trust Him with your finances. Trust Him with your health. Trust Him with your relationships. Trust Him with your future. Trust Him with the things you understand and the things that make no sense at all. Because when you hand over everything into His hands, you will see Him move in ways that will leave you speechless. When you truly trust God, you stop measuring your future by the pain of your past. You stop looking at what happened yesterday as a limit for what can happen tomorrow. Because trusting God means you believe that no wound is too deep for Him to heal. No mistake is too big for Him to redeem. No mountain is too high for Him to move. The very thing that once brought you to your knees in tears can become the testimony that lifts you up in triumph. When God steps in, what once looked like a dead end becomes a doorway into a greater season of your life. But here is the truth. trust is not natural to the human heart. Our instinct is to control, to plan, to calculate, to analyze every outcome. We want to know exactly how things will unfold before we feel safe enough to rest. Yet God calls us into a higher way of living, a way where we release control and place our full weight on His strength. Trusting God means walking even when you don't see the path, believing even when you don't feel the answer, holding on even when you feel like letting go. It is choosing to believe that His wisdom surpasses yours and that His plans is always greater than anything you could design for yourself. Do you know why God sometimes allows you to face problems that are bigger than you? It is not to destroy you. It is to teach you to lean on Him. If everything in your life could be solved with money, with connections, with skills, you would never need faith. You would never need trust. But when God places you in a position where no human help is enough, where no solution seems possible, that is when His power becomes undeniable. That is when you realize that trust is not an option. It is the only way forward. Trust is the bridge between your present struggle and your future victory. Without trust, you remain stuck in fear. Without trust, you keep circling the same mountain of anxiety. Without trust, you drown in despair. But with trust, you can walk through fire and not be burned, through waters and not be drowned, through valleys and not be lost. Because when your trust is anchored in God, the storms may rage, but they cannot shake you. The winds may blow, but they cannot uproot you. The darkness may press in, but it cannot consume you. Understand this: trusting God does not mean you will never face trials. It means trials will never have the final word. Trusting God does not mean you will never feel weak. It means your weakness becomes the very place where His strength is revealed. Trusting God does not mean you will never be hurt. It means that even in your hurt, He will bring healing, comfort, and restoration that far exceeds the pain. So many people think their situation is too complicated for God. They say, my debt is too big, my sickness is too advanced, my family is too broken, my mistakes are too heavy. But let me tell you this, there is no scale that can measure God's power. There is no equation that can calculate His ability. There is no problem that can stand as a giant before the Creator of the universe. If He can bring order out of chaos, if He can call light out of darkness, if He can set the stars in place and command the seas to stop at the shore, then surely He can handle your situation. Do not underestimate what God can do. Sometimes the greatest obstacle to your breakthrough is not the size of your problem, but the smallness of your trust. You see your situation as impossible, but God sees it as an opportunity to reveal His greatness. You see a dead end, but God sees the beginning of a new chapter. You see brokenness, but God sees the material for a miracle. That is why you must lift your eyes off the problem and fix them on the One who holds all power in His hand. There is another dimension of trust that many overlook: trusting God with the unknown. You may not know how things will work out, but you must believe that He already knows the end from the beginning. He is not guessing. He is not scrambling for solutions. He already has the answer prepared before you even face the question. Your worry does not add wisdom to His plan. It only robs your heart of peace. When you trust God with the unknown, you begin to live with a calm assurance that even if you do not see every detail, He is working out something far greater than you can imagine. And let me tell you this, sometimes God allows delays not to frustrate you, but to protect you. What you think is a setback may actually be a shield. What you think is a missed opportunity may actually be His way of saving you from disaster. You cry because the door didn't open, but you don't see that behind that door was harm. You panic because something ended, but you don't realize that ending was the only way to redirect you towards something far greater. Trust means believing that even when you don't understand, God's hand is guiding you, guarding you, and preparing you for something better. Trust in God is not just about waiting for Him to fix your situation. It's also about aligning your heart with His wisdom during the process. When you trust Him, you stop fighting against what He is doing and you start cooperating with it. You stop resisting the pruning, the stretching, the refining, and you start embracing them as part of the preparation for your breakthrough. Because every trial, every challenge, every delay has a purpose. Nothing is wasted in the hands of God. Some of you are wondering, why hasn't God fixed my situation yet? And I want you to hear this with clarity. Sometimes the situation is not changing because God is first changing you. He is strengthening your character, deepening your faith, teaching you perseverance, and preparing you to handle the blessing when it comes. Because what good is it if He fixes the problem, but you are not strong enough to carry the solution? What good is it if He opens the door, but you are not ready to walk through it? Trust means believing that even in the waiting, God is working for your good. You may be in the middle of a storm, but the storm is not the end. You may be surrounded by enemies, but enemies are not the end. You may be pressed down by burdens, but burdens are not the end. The end belongs to God, and He has declared that your end will not be defeat, but victory. When you trust Him, you begin to live with that unshakable confidence. You wake up in the morning not with fear, but with expectation. You go through challenges not with despair, but with determination. You face giants not with trembling, but with courage, because you know that God has already written the final word, and that word is deliverance. Trust is the most powerful declaration of your faith. When you trust God, you are saying, I refuse to be defined by what I see. I choose to be defined by what God has promised. I refuse to be controlled by fear. I choose to walk in confidence. I refuse to be paralyzed by the unknown. I choose to rest in the assurance that God is my protector, my provider, my healer, and my deliverer. That kind of trust shakes the very foundations of doubt and positions you for divine breakthrough. And never forget, trust is not just for the good times. It is easy to trust God when everything is going well, when money is flowing, when relationships are peaceful, when health is strong. But true trust is revealed in the valley, not the mountaintop. True trust is tested when the night is darkest, when the tears are heaviest, when the pain is sharpest. It is in those moments when you declare, even here, even now, I will trust God, that heaven takes notice. That is when your faith becomes a fragrance before Him. That is when your life becomes a living testimony of His power. My beloved, listen carefully. You may not understand everything happening in your life right now, but you do not need to. You only need to know that God is faithful. You only need to know that His hand has never failed. You only need to know that He sees what you cannot see, He knows what you do not know, and He holds what you cannot hold. Do not measure His power by the size of your problem. Measure your problem by the greatness of your God, and you will realize that what terrifies you is nothing compared to the one who created heaven and earth. This moment is not an accident. You are hearing these words because God is calling you to rise above fear and walk into a deeper trust. He is calling you to release what you have been holding onto so tightly. Your worries, your doubts, your sleepless nights, your broken heart, and to place them into His hands once and for all. He is calling you to stop living as if you are abandoned and start living as if you are carried by His power. So here is my challenge to you. Make the decision today, right here, right now, that you will trust God with everything. Not halfway, not in some areas while clinging to others. No, give it all to Him. Trust Him with your past. Trust Him with your present. Trust Him with your future. Trust Him with the things you understand and the things that make no sense. Trust Him when the path is clear, and trust Him when the path is hidden in fog. Trust Him in the sunshine and trust Him in the storm. Trust Him when you feel strong and trust Him when you feel weak. Lift your head, open your heart, and declare it boldly. I will not live as a prisoner of fear. I will not be ruled by despair. I will not be defined by my circumstances. I will trust God, and I will watch Him fix my situation. Say it until it burns within you. Say it until every doubt trembles. Say it until every fear is silenced. Say it until your spirit rises with unshakable confidence. Walk out of this moment with courage. Walk out with faith. Walk out knowing that God is already working on your behalf, already aligning things in your favor, already preparing doors you cannot see. Do not wait for tomorrow to believe. Do not wait for evidence to have confidence. Stand today as one who knows that when God is on your side, no darkness can prevail, no chain can hold you, and no situation is beyond His power to fix. The time has come. No more hesitation, no more fear, no more doubting. Trust God and watch with your own eyes how He turns your tears into joy, your weakness into strength, your lack into abundance, and your battle into victory. Let your life become a testimony that shouts to the world, those who trust in God will never be disappointed.